following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Here we go, Barflies. Welcome to the Barfly Tailgate Show. You already know it's done by Barflies for Barflies and all the other Bears fans out there. Welcome back, gentlemen. Another week in the books. Welcome back, Chris. I feel like I haven't talked to you in like a month, man. How you doing this morning, brother? How you been?
I'm doing a lot better than last week, mate. I think last Sunday was a combination of having a really bad cold and also a massive hangover because I went out for my birthday the night before. So I'd have to say it was a bit of both. But, I think for being a Bears fan, I think the best way to get through is actually just to be permanently drunk all the time. So, it's great to be... It's great to be back. I'm actually drinking Jack Daniels now just to get through talking about the Chicago Bears. I've got Jack Daniels up to there, so by the end of the show, anything could be said, mate. I'm telling you. But it's great to be back, and I watched the show, and it's just such a joy to talk to you boys. And I'm going to be in Chicago a week on Thursday, so that's suddenly come really real. But yeah, great to be back, and I'm sorry about last week, but I'm back.
Oh, that's all good, man. Sometimes you just gotta take your time and take a day. I don't know what just happened to Jordan. I was gonna bring him in, but Jordan's back. I'm sure he'll be right back. He probably just hit the wrong button or something. I don't know. First things first, I guess. Since I still got you here, here's Jordan. Jordan Silvera just said deuces. I don't know what happened there.
They were like, there's just no room to talk about the bad news Bears this morning. No. Good morning, fellas. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Glad to see you all. And Chris, I'm happy you're back. And I hope I don't sound too nasally. I'm actually dealing with a little bit of a cold myself, but we're gonna get through this, and we're gonna watch two winless teams today scrap it out.
Absolutely. KB is on his way. He's texting me this morning. He worked last night, so he's kind of, trying to shake the cobwebs a little bit this morning, and he'll be in. As soon as he in, we'll bring him in. But first things first, since you're back, Chris, we got and there's quite a few candidates for Wanker of the Week, but we'll hit the intro here, and then you can tell us who your Wanker of the Week was from last week.
Piss off, you grassy little wanker!
Wanker! Shut up, you soppy wanker!
Wanker!
You're a wanker!
Wanker!
Stop being a wanker.
You are a wanker, Andy Marr. And I'll be honest, I didn't know that was coming, but I'll say it again, you are a wanker.
This is Chris Watts' Wanker of the Week.
So if you're new to the show, every week, Chris Watts comes from across the pond to tell us who his Wanker of the Week is, who dropped the ball last week, who's messing up. Tell me who your Wanker of the Week is this week, Chris, please.
Well, AC, there's no one person. It's a whole fucking Chicago Bears organization, from the fucking top to the bottom. This is what we're getting. And I am so angry with the ownership. I'm so angry that I was thinking about all week, thinking about how things have been going, and I just kept thinking, what sort of organisation, right, hires a rookie GM, a rookie head coach, a rookie defensive coordinator, a rookie offensive coordinator, and then they wonder why things have gone absolutely terrible. You know what I mean? It's just the actual. I don't understand the thinking of the ownership anymore. Really, when we made them signings, them coaches, I just kept thinking, why aren't we getting a coach who's got experience? Because as previous coach Nagy, he had no head coach experience beforehand. So I would always sort of scratching my head about, well, how's this going to work out? Because nobody's done the job before, and it's like the 3 or 4 most important jobs in the whole club. It's the head coach, coordinators, and GM. So for me, it's the McCaskies, and it's all the way through the GM, the coaching, and now the players aren't buying into it. People like Chase Claypool's not active today, so obviously they're not happy with him. We've got Virgin is being moved up to 2. So what does that mean? Does that mean if I know you're happy about that, AC, but does that mean if Fields has a bad half, are we going to put Virgin in? I don't know, but it's just this never-ending circle of terrible management by the owners and people who make the decisions for our club. You know what I mean? And it's sort of frustrating because it's a family ownership, so it's not like it's just some billionaire who's bought the team who would be quite happy to sort of sell it on. The McCaskies are never going to want to sell it on, just due to that it's been passed down to them from George Ellis. So the wanker of the week, and I think it was the same last time we had wanker of the week. It's the whole fucking organisation. It's an absolute joke.
Yeah, I agree, man. They inherited this from their grandfather, Papa Bear, and I mean, what a hell of an inheritance, to get $1 billion organization given to you. And I mean, as long as they're getting butts in seats, it seems like they don't care. Like I said before, I've met George McCaskey, so I know he cares. I just don't know if he knows how to do it. Even it's like when that kid burns his hand on the stove and you tell him don't touch the damn stove anymore. It seems like our McCaskies continuously put their hands back on the stove while it's hot. And they do it ass backwards too. They hired the GM that hired the coach that hired and then hired the president to be over those guys. So that's really the only sliver of hope that I have in this season is that it continues to go bad. Because I've said several times, to me, it starts at the top. Eberflus's system doesn't work, and he's going to continue to try and push this narrative that he's got this hits philosophy, and guys are going to try hard, but it doesn't seem to be working, and his defense doesn't work anymore. You really got to start there. I'm still in on polls, but I was listening to CHGO last week, and basically Adam Hogue just started going down the list of the moves he's made, and I was like, damn, like you start off, you hire the wrong head coach. Then you trade away Mac, which we had to do. I mean, we knew this was going to have to be a tear down. Then you don't re-sign Roquan, who's playing really well in Baltimore. Then you, I'm trying to think, you trade Chase Claypool for the 32nd overall pick. That's not working out. And I was on board with that at the time because I was looking at the free agency class and it didn't look too good, And at the time, we didn't know it was going to be the 32nd pick. So I'll give him a little bit of leeway there. And then, of course, Hogue had to throw in the Jalen Carter thing because he just loves that guy. That was his favorite player in the draft. So he's going to continue to beat that dead horse, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's looking rough for both GM and head coach. And I don't know if Warren is really entrusted with enough power to make the necessary moves that we need to make change in Chicago. What do you think, Jordan?
I mean,
Chris, go ahead.
Can I jump in, Jordan?
Yes, please.
It's just so it's such a slap in the face of the fans that they won't change coaches to the end of the season. Don't you think that? I mean, I know, like, you got scheme and, they've been practicing a certain schemes in offense and defense all in the off season. But, like, there's like 3/4 of the season left here. So, as fans, we just expect you just to put up with, like, this crap where you should really, even if it's just somebody to the end of the season, like a head coach you can have until the end of the season. That really upsets me because I keep thinking, you still expect, I'm going to 2 games this year. It's cost me a fortune to come to America. Well, it cost me a fortune, but it's still money. And, and you're expected us just to sit there and just accept it where really they should be like getting their asses together and thinking, right, we need a change this culture. Why do they expect that fans are going to put up with a lost season when we're only 3 or 4 games in? That's the thing that really irritates me. That's non-action. It's just people sitting on their asses, and it sort of seems to me like everybody's scared to make a decision about what's going to go on. And I think that's really bad management and bad ownership. Sorry, Jordan.
No. It's it's okay, Chris and AC, and certainly AC. We can talk about Ryan Poles, and I'll get to that. But I also just think like I'm going to kind of ride the sentiment here with the chat and the your sentiment, Chris, and that I've been thinking a lot about the NFL. And as you two gentlemen know, I feel like I'm just an NFL fan more than I'm a Bears fan. I know that chaps people's ass here, but it's just the fact of the matter. And it's kind of for this reason is, I was thinking about the Rams and like how they're kind of going through a rebuild, and it just kind of happens with every team. And the whole idea is that even if you're climbing the mountain, only one team gets to the top every year. That's the Super Bowl, and that's fine. That's understandable. But you are always in pursuit of trying to get to the top of the mountain. And when you usually reach the top of the mountain, you usually have to fall back down and rebuild yourself. That was the Rams. I mean, the Eagles are solid, but they're having some struggles a little bit. You've had so many teams throughout history. And I think as a Bears fans, what we're frustrated about, and people, Bears players like Jaquan Brisker come in and go, why are you guys not faithful in us while you're booing really quick, is you've never as an organization, I know it's not DJ Moore's fault. I know it's not Jaquan Brisker's fault. I know it's Justin Fields come and go, and I've never had to lose like this before. But that is where the frustration, I think, as Bears fans boils, is we never seem to be climbing the mountain. Like we have our backpack on. We're told every year we're going to start climbing it. And then, I don't know, maybe you get like 20 feet up and then you just fall back down and you go, well, sorry, we're going to have to get a new backpack. We're going to have to get a new climber, get some new boots, and we're going to try it all over again. And I just think as fans, we're I don't want to say that, we're not the most intelligent people, but we've seen this routine in this show before. And I think what's frustrating is feeling like your ownership, George McCaskey and otherwise, says he's a fan. He's not not a football mind. He's a fan just like us. But if we can see the flaws in your process, how can you not? And that is really the issue. So, Chris, I appreciate it. I hear you. AC, I'll quickly to your point. I think I struggle with not with the Claypool situation. We can talk about the Claypool situation too, but the Ryan Poles situation. My big fear with Ryan Poles is I have no problem saying that I think he's been a pretty bad GM, all things considered. It's tough because I've said it before, and I think somebody had previously said, like, you're only giving him so little credit, but I'm trying to point out the positives. And the only positives I can give him is that he's been financially savvy and he's done well with draft capital, making sure we have plenty of it. And I suppose he was good at something that I think a lot of people could do, which is tear down the studs and rebuild, or try to rebuild. It's easy to take a hammer to the drywall. It's hard to actually put up new drywall to make it look proper. So I don't know if you really want to give him a ton of credit for that, but you can. Fine. To say he did a good job tearing it down. As far as building good draft capital, I mean, no doubt it's his respect. And he's done a good job getting a 4th rounder for Robert Quinn, for getting a 2nd rounder for Khalil Mack. There's certain things there that work. But I'm also like, you when you tank to get the 1st overall pick, I mean, you even had to luck into that with Lovey. Yeah. But you tanked. So, like, am I really going to give you credit for flipping the 1st pick for, extra draft capital? I mean, great. So, I mean, again, those are the positives. I'll give him credit for that. He you have to be the one to be able to facilitate the call, get DJ Moore in the package, get the 25 second round pick, the 2 first round picks. So it's all good. But after that, and I guess I'll give him one thing. It's just having Chris, you said like there's not a lot of you hired rookie HC, rookie OC, things of that sort. I get he's a rookie GM, but that in some ways it's a benefit because he's really the only adult in the room. I mean, I hate to say it, but like you got your gym teacher, Matt Eberflus, coming out and doing press conferences. And you can clearly tell what Ryan Poles thinks when he has to be like, hold on, I have to have a press conference here because nobody's taking you seriously. So to the credit of Ryan Poles, I think that he's been an adult in the room, and that's kind of been a refreshing thing compared to, Ryan Pace, who would hide behind the scenes. But after that, let's be very clear. After that, I don't have a lot of good to give him. It's you traded or you picked Velus Jones with your 71st overall pick. And I know people say that, when you're picking that far in the draft, you can't guarantee starters. No, but you can guarantee impact players, role players. Velus Jones hasn't done much of anything. Nothing that, UDFA couldn't really do. So you burned that pick there. I was a fan of the Claypool trade at the time, and I know it had no doubt about it. Let's be very clear. Chase Claypool has not worked out. He needs to be out of Chicago. It's not working, but it's the same thing as and I know nobody wants to hear this. Justin Fields needs to be out of Chicago too. And these are not. I actually don't look at this. Is the thing. I don't look at these as player things. This goes back to the organization. I get it. You could easily say, well, they wanted to get rid of Chase Claypool for some reason. Absolutely, no doubt about it. But if you're going to really say it's like a character thing or anything, I mean, they picked George Pickens. They have no problem with character. I just think the reality is they have a wealth of wide receiver talent in Pittsburgh and needed to offload somebody. And he was their target. And, I mean, you're making him a healthy scratch because he was honest and said, I don't think I'm being used to the best of my abilities. I would mostly agree with that.
Everyone would.
Well, we don't throw slants in this offense. We don't do jet sweeps and end arounds in this offense. We don't throw 9 balls. And when we do, either Justin Fields is airing them off the sideline or you got your receivers not doing their job, dropping it when he's putting it in the breadbasket. So, and I get it. He plays small. He does all these other things. But I didn't hate the move at the time, especially when you consider it as, and basically you talked about Roquan playing well. Roquan was not playing well in Chicago. That's something that a lot of people don't remember. He was not playing well. And there's no doubt about it that Roquan wanted to be the highest paid linebacker, wasn't a fit in this new scheme. So I've always looked at that Claypool trade, and I get it. It was the 32 overall pick that really hurts. Could have been Joey Porter, my number 1 corner. I understand all that. But at the end of the day, when you just look at the factors, didn't know it was a 32nd pick at the time. You were trying to win. You just came off the New England Patriots game. You end up getting blown out at Dallas. But the general idea here is that I'm going to trade Roquan, who wants to be the highest paid, for a young receiver on a prove-it year where I can get him a little cheaper, provide a surplus of talent and a boost to my offense, a stimulus to my offense. And overall, I'm trading Chase Claypool for Roquan minus roughly 15 picks. Now, it ended up being worse than that because you ended up deciding this is the whole problem. You decided, we lost the Dallas game, so we're just going to tank. We're just going to throw it all in the – okay, but that hurts the pick you just sent. And, I mean, we can go down this whole road, but I could talk for a gazillion because, I mean, you could talk about any of this stuff and pick it apart left and right. With hindsight, it's all the benefit of the factor. But to me, I think the big thing is I could see Ryan Poles getting fired, and I wouldn't really mind it. I just – because I don't think it's unwarranted. I think, you could argue he's got enough of a case to be out, although I don't think it happens. Because you got to think that George McCaskey and ownership has to pay everybody that they fire up to the term of their contract. So are you really going to fire your head coach, all the coaches? Who knows if you're still paying Nagy and Pace? I know that sounds like a joke, but when you're still paying Danny Trevathan some dead cap money, you might as well be paying Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy a couple dollars. So if you're doing that at every different level, to sit there and have to try to also replace the GM, plus you now have to hire for new money, the new staff, I don't see him getting traded. And the big thing to me, too, is it's really the vested interests. And I've heard people push back on this. Like, Jordan, you really think if they hire a new GM, they're going to, ship out Darnell Wright? No. That's not what I'm saying. Especially somebody like Darnell Wright makes a little more sense. But Gervon Dexter, Zach Pickens, Tyreek Stevenson, Velus Jones, Tremaine Edmonds maybe, TJ Edwards – you start thinking about who do you bring in and what have you spent money on? And thankfully, he's been financially wise. Like Tremaine Edmonds is a big hit now. He's really expensive now. It gets cheaper, it gets more manageable. But you've spent a second and a third round pick on Zach Pickens and Javon Dexter.
Yeah.
Those guys fit a 4-3. What if you want to go hire somebody that runs a 3-4? I don't think that either of those guys can play nose. Maybe Javon Dexter could play nose. I don't think Zach Pickens would be a fantastic 5-tech. I think he's a better 3-tech. We've seen Tremaine Edmonds only in a 4-3. Is he able to play outside backer? Is he an off-ball backer at that size? He doesn't deal with getting off blocks. So it's Tyreek Stevenson's a press man corner. What if you decide that works for Brian Flores? You want to go with another Eberflus guy that wants to play zone all day? They may just say that guy does not fit what we need.
Right.
It becomes a situation where if you end up letting go of Poles, you need to be careful because whoever you bring in next may just strip and tear down those young pieces that you've invested in. And whether those pieces are good or not is a different story. But the reality, this is my whole issue with Justin Fields. Ryan Poles, I know you'll always have in your back pocket. It's really convenient. Well, that wasn't my guy. I can go pick my guy.
Right.
But you took the job in Chicago, which means that it is in your best interest to make whatever the past Bears decisions are look good. You are operating in what is best for the Chicago Bears organization. So you don't tank when Justin Fields is on his cheap years. You try to build around him and make it work. This is the same problem, is if you were to remove him and put somebody in, sure, that GM should keep the vested interest, should keep what has been spent on the roster. But we also know that's not how it works. Everybody wants to come in and go, no, I want to paint it my way. And all of a sudden you start seeing young talent being shipped out, whether it be a Roquan Smith, whether it would end up being, a Kyler Gordon or somebody else. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they talk about accountability, and we saw Chase Claypool not applying himself in the running game. He didn't want to block. He didn't show effort. That's not what benched him. Apparently him coming out and saying he wasn't being used right is what benched. That's what was finally the straw that broke the camel's back. And if they're going with this screen pass type offense, you have the best blocker in your wide receiver core inactive the first 2 weeks. I feel like he's active this week. I think that's the trade-off is they made Claypool inactive and they made EQ active, and we'll see how that works out. A lot of guys in the chat are talking about, I think someone said early, and it's something I definitely agree with. I refuse to believe. Oh, KB's here. I'll go ahead and bring him in, and I'll finish my thought. I refuse to believe that a Tremaine Edmonds, a TJ Edwards, guys that are proven in other defenses all of a sudden come here and can't play defense. That's what tells me it's a scheme issue. I was fine with Roquan leaving because of what he was asking for. I know a lot of people aren't happy about it. Now, all of a sudden, they're talking about trading away the linchpin of your defense and not building around him. But the guy we got 2 linebackers for the price of 1, and those guys had shown previously that they could play close to, if not that level of Roquan. So that's why they made that move, because it made more sense financially. It's hard for me to understand how all of a sudden those players aren't playing like they were before, which leads back to a scheme issue, which leads back to your head coach is the wrong guy. And we saw plays out of Justin Fields last year that all of a sudden he's not making those same plays. And that tells me coaching as well. How do you regress in year 3 other than you're not being coached right or you're not being used correctly? I mean, I've been telling guys at work because they're always like, what are the Bears going to do this year, or this week? And I'm just like, I just hope we fucking lose because I'm so tired of the wrong coach being there. I'm tired of it. And until Eberflus is gone, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad news for me. I'm going to be in a bad mood. Chris Watts is going to be drinking Jack Daniels at 10 o'clock in the morning. It is what it is. I mean, it's smooth as Tennessee whiskey. That's KB. How you doing this morning? Speaking of being smooth,
I'm here. let's just go with that.
You're just here so you don't get fined,
man. Facts. Because at this point,
that's what it feels like covering the Bears. I'm here so I don't get fined.
Listen, man. At this point, I don't know what you say about this team. I don't know if you a player, you can actually speak without being said that you a problem. I listen, bro. I just don't know anything no more, bro. Like I said, so I'm just here so I don't get fined. I love my boys, so I'm here for support right now.
Hey, but on some real shit though, I mean, I agree. I totally agree with you, AC. Like what Chase Claypool put out on tape in week 1 was just
shit was trash.
that you just can't have. Like I look, I'll bench you right then. I'll make you inactive right then just to make a point. But and this is the whole problem is the leadership. And notice how I said, and this is why I'm not even giving a ton of credit to Ryan Poles, but Ryan Poles at least appears and comes across as he's got his head on straight. He's an adult. He's operating in a decently productive, logical, pragmatic manner. When you look at the head coaching staff, the offensive staff, none of that other personnel shit makes sense, which is you came out there and looked like horrendously, like the effort was completely absent. But okay, no, don't worry about it. We think you're going to get back on track, so we're going to keep you active. Okay, well, that's just, I mean, you can, but you're not really punishing or showing that. And I'm talking about just on a parenting level, parent to child here, like, leader to direct report. I'm not choosing to discipline you and show you that was severe or serious enough that I'm going to give you real consequential action. So I'm going to just support you and go, okay, I think you can do better next week. And then when all of a sudden I voice my opinion, honestly, Chase Claypool saying, I don't think I'm being used correctly. That's what the straw that breaks the camel's back. There's a disconnect there. That doesn't happen. That doesn't make sense. And this is not just a Claypool thing. Hey, Tyson Bagent looked awesome. He played better than PJ Walker and Nathan Peterman. Okay, we're going to do something logical. We're going to base it on play and merit. So PJ Walker, you're out the door. But he also played better than Nathan Peterman. Yeah, but he's a rookie, so like we're gonna make him third string, and he's not gonna be active. And Nathan Peterman, who hasn't earned dog shit in this league, is gonna be our backup. Where are the personnel decisions that make sense? One more. Hey, Zach Pickens. Everybody. I'm not just me. Fuck me, man. Give me other draft analysts that say that he looks like a 3-tech. Yeah, but I think that we're really insistent on making him a nose tackle.
I think Greg Gabriel's even said that. I mean, that's a scout telling you this.
Like, fuck, man. And then you got Gervon Dexter, who, if he knows nothing else, if he knows how to do nothing else, because, God knows he can't play with pad level, correct? And he's been better with his get off. But the one thing and you gentlemen heard me say when he got drafted, I said he could be a tree stump. Just have him plant anchor and say, you got to run to some other gap because I'm not fucking moving.
Yeah.
No. We want to make him a penetrating 3-tech, guys. That's how we envisioned our draft. Like, hey, Roshan Johnson looks fucking fantastic. But I still don't think he's starting. He had a great, week 1, had some good promising moments. If there's one guy that shows all the effort in the world, it's him. And he still gets part-time touches. Like, the personnel.
RB1. I still don't understand that. Oh.
The personnel decisions don't make sense, gentlemen. And the problem is, too, and the only thing I could say is when you look at the offensive staff, whether it's fair or not, you just have to assume that they're in over their head. Like either they're hearing noise from the outside or they're just so down because of the losses and they're just like trying to, when you're too close to the forest to see the trees, you're almost like picking up the puzzle pieces going, what the fuck happened? How did we end up here? That is the only way I can logically try to explain it because none, very few, if any, of their personnel decisions make any sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
sorry, AC.
Well, speaking of some personnel decisions that do make sense, backstage, I got my man Johnny Santucci, the Tooch, coming in. Johnny, I got to tell you, man, they finally passed sports gambling in Kentucky. I've been doing it on my phone a little bit. Your boy made a little bit of money.
All right.
USC let me down yesterday. I had a pretty big parlay with them, but other than that, man, I've been having a lot of fun with it. I'm just hoping I'm not going to have to call 1-800-GAMBLER soon because
I think you are. I think you're sliding.
I do have some good plays for today. Right now, I've got Bijan Robinson over 25.5 receiving yards, and he's gone over 35, I think, every week. And as long as the books are going to throw that number out there, I'm going to keep hitting it. But Got a 10-unit play today.
When you say units, what does a unit mean, Tooch? Because I'm not fully.
So if you're like a $10 betters, like your average, that's 1 unit, or some people are $20 betters. Some people are $100 betters.
Units is total number of bets you have active today.
The unit is the amount of money you put on a bet. So if you're a $10 better, 1 unit is $10.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So I'm usually like a 2-unit better. That's about my max.
Same
Is
with me. We got
Can
families.
Can we ask Tooch for the pro gambler here? What is an average unit, or what is maybe the most units you've ever bet? Are you allowed? Are you willing to share that?
Yeah, I bet $250 on Evan McPherson over 1.5 field goals in the Super Bowl, and he had 2.
Wow.
I was like, I knew. And then last year I had a couple $100 and a couple $200 bets.
Damn.
I have a $100 bet today. So.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate you sharing. I just always find
I will share with you guys after the show because AC going to get in on this one. I guarantee you.
Well, DraftKings, since it just passed in Kentucky, DraftKings gave us a bunch of props and free bets and all kinds of stuff, which I've been taking full advantage of. Today, I've got they gave me a boost, a prop boost where anytime touchdown from Bijan Robinson and Travis Etienne together, I bet $20 and I'm doubling my money if they both hit. And I'm like, well, I mean, I feel like that's an automatic almost,
those plays, a lot of times they don't hit, they want you to bet that one. Sometimes they do. I mean, DraftKings has got some great promos and stuff. Like when they give you, 50% profit boost on any game, then you can take, some long odds and turn it into, workable odds. Like minus 150 on someone's money line, just to win. You get that down to minus 110, minus 120. And that just means when it says minus 110 is like the standard bet.
Yeah.
So that means you're putting $1.10 to win $1. That's all. The 10 cents is what they call the juice. That's the casino making money.
Yeah.
So
we were just talking a little bit about our D line here and how a lot of it does. I mean,
missing some secondary.
I'm glad you're on because Andrew Billings has played probably the best player on our entire defense. I'd love to see him get re-signed at this point. I mean, I got a jersey on the way, so that's definitely something. But how it doesn't make sense. These guys were drafted. They played a certain position in college, and we all thought that they fit differently. But our coaching staff, I'm assuming, thinks they fit backwards. Like they put Pickens at nose and Gervin or Gervon Dexter at 3, and they should be swapped.
Yeah.
Also, Justin, what's his last name? Justin Jones. Is that right?
Yeah.
He talks a lot, but he doesn't back up his talk on the field. Like. I feel like he's getting washed out really easily. I haven't seen anything from DeMarcus Walker. Yannick Ngakoue has 1 sack since coming here. Now, I get it. He can't do it all his own. And that's another point of a lot of people that love the Jalen Carter pick and wish we could have drafted him. There's no one around him. So it's like look at Aaron Donald this year. He's the best defensive tackle in the league. And you don't hear him a whole lot because he just doesn't have a whole lot around him. He's got to do it all himself. And when that comes down to I firmly do not believe Jalen Carter would be doing what he's doing on our D-line as opposed to their D-line because he's just got straight dogs around him up there in Philly. And I know a lot of Bears fans don't want to hear that, but that's the truth in my opinion.
Can I ask you a question about that D-line?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Eberflus, the defense that he runs, one of the most important parts, if not the most important part, is the 3 technique. And Brian Poles just didn't give him one, man. I can't figure it out. Either we were set up to fail this year. I've said it on Bear State of Affairs that this year is really the tank year. They put one over on us. Gotcha, guys. Sorry, I know you thought we were tanking last year. We did get that number 1 pick, but you ain't seen nothing this year.
Yeah.
But
now we might have the first and second pick.
We might have the first 2 picks. Exactly. I don't know, man. The Bears might be the worst team in the league. I mean, currently they probably are. I mean, Jordan would probably agree with me on that. But
I mean, who's worse? Honestly, like real shit. Who's worse?
Yeah, I struggle to think of a team. Denver, maybe.
No, I mean the Panthers are probably competing, that's the funny part is
Arizona's competing.
But I mean, and this is the sad part, and I think this is also why we're frustrated as Bears fans. I'm being dead serious here. I don't think the Bears have actually like their dearth of talent where they're just so barren. Yep. They just have no players. It's not that.
And injured.
That was last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you do have talent this year, which is why a lot of fans had a lot of expectations and hype. DJ Moore's a good player. I'm not telling you Claypool's ever like 1,000-yard receiver, but he could be used. Darnell Mooney is healthy. You had a top 10 pick. He should be playing. He's okay. He's not tremendously bad, but he should be showing some more. Khalil Herbert's shown burst before. That's no longer around. Cole Kmet had a good strong year last year. He's not a factor. Tremaine Edmonds was fine in Buffalo. Doesn't look that great now. TJ Edwards, same thing. Like, this is the thing is you've got talent, and it's probably more than the Cardinals and other places. But it's all so mismatched and unused correctly, or used incorrectly, rather, that you're in a situation now where you look like the Arizona Cardinals. You look like, the receiving core of the Carolina Panthers, and that's the problem.
Yeah, it makes me feel bad for a DJ Moore who kind of came here. He was forced here. I know. I was listening back to Mike North's podcast with Aldo, and he said something about why would DJ Moore come here? Well, he didn't have a choice in the matter. He was traded here.
Yeah, he didn't have a choice.
But Mike North's still hanging on to what Trubisky would do, and that just kind of grinds my gears a little bit because I don't think if we had Peyton Manning here, it wouldn't be good with this coaching staff. It starts with them. I know Bajent got promoted to QB2 today, so if Justin takes a hit the wrong way or something, maybe we see a little bit of Bajent today. Yeah.
3 picks. But I went back and watched some of the snaps, Bears and Chiefs, and I didn't see a whole lot of guys open. I mean, Kansas City's defense is very underrated. I mean, they blanket coverage on our receivers. I mean, Justin, he didn't have anywhere to go. I don't know whether obviously Kansas City has a lot better coaches than us, but I'll tell you, I could see Justin Fields after 2.5, 3 seconds he should be running. There's just nothing else he can do. When it's blanket coverage like that, they were running the routes with our receivers almost every drop back.
Yeah, but that's because there's no fucking creativity in the passing game, and that's I mean, I look, I told you the NFL football is my drug. I got the England game on what I'm watching right now. I just watched Desmond Ritter, who looks like shit. I'll take an L on my priors on Desmond Ritter. I thought Desmond Ritter would look better. He literally just fucked up a dragging concept, which is a slant and a flat, and the slant was covered. He threw a pick 6.
Yeah, and Jaguars first half.
Even that the dragging concept is really simple.
Today.
It's dragging concept is a slant and a flat. You don't see that in Chicago.
Nope.
Hey, when's the last time you saw DJ Moore or even Chase Claypool on just a slant? Just right down the middle, just 1-2 quick seconds. And when they did, they ran two slants off the first play, and it was the Chiefs game. DJ Moore's wide open. This is the whole problem too, is nobody wants to talk about it. Your quarterback can't make simple fucking throws either. So this is where it's I know we're all mad, but you got to rip this shit apart. And I don't mean the good players.
Did you watch USC Colorado yesterday?
Of course I did.
Yep, a lot of us probably watched that game, man.
Not me. I was watching Kentucky Wildcats stomp the shit out of Florida.
Man, we both got to win. Our quarterback went down, and I don't know if you saw Deacon Hill coming. That dude's he's 6'4", 260. He looks like a linebacker, but we got lucky. We're at home against Michigan State, but with McNamara going down for the Hawkeyes, not good news.
Hey, I mean, we don't have to talk about it. Totally too much. We'll do it offline. But
yeah,
Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper DeJean, my guy. But
is it so?
Caleb Williams makes a ton of plays on the run, and his arm is so strong. Really like that kid. I was trying to figure out. I've only watched one Drake May game, but I'd like to see. Because I think the Bears are going to seriously consider drafting and reset the quarterback clock this coming draft, man. I'll tell you, it makes sense.
The coaching clock
right?
First.
You have to get rid of the coaches. You got to have someone in place. People are saying, bring Lincoln Riley to coach him. Look, Lincoln Riley is very creative on offense. His defenses have never been good wherever he's gone, man. But
that was my point. If there's a college coach I want, it's Jim Harbaugh, and it's no one else. I mean, Nick Saban was given a chance in the NFL, and that didn't work.
Yep.
But Jim Harbaugh has succeeded at both the college and NFL level.
Yep.
Last time we were hiring a head coach, I was against the Jim Harbaugh thought, but now, I mean, who else are you going to bring in? Lincoln Riley, as you said, has never put and he's got pieces. If you look at his recruiting classes, he has dogs on that defense.
But I kind of disagree with this, but
looks like Justin Fields at Ohio State. Think about it. Well, Justin was balling out at Ohio State. I mean, he was throwing the ball well.
And USC's got a really good offensive line, too. I mean, it makes some sense, but they're two different players. I mean, Caleb Williams, he's running a little more complex offense. I'll tell you, Michigan will be number one this week after, Georgia had they squeaked by Auburn. But, I mean, that's a bitter rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan went into Nebraska and just pounded them.
Beat the brakes off of them.
42-7.
Yes, sir.
Maybe they should be number one because Georgia was struggling at Auburn.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yep.
We got to go down there and play them next week at night.
Man,
which
go ahead and knock them off, bro.
Pissed off. I just hope they're not pissed off, man.
I'll tell you, Georgia defense, not the same defense we're used to seeing from the Bulldogs, and they're struggling on offense. I don't know if Beck is the guy. They still haven't been able to really establish a strong running game. I think that they were ranked number one just based on past performance. I think if Michigan were to play Georgia, it wouldn't be much of it. I think Michigan probably wins by a touchdown or two.
Michigan would have gave them a better game last year than TCU did. Michigan just pissed down their leg.
Yeah,
let's not talk about it.
Sorry, KB. I brought you up and down in that same sentence.
Yeah,
I was a very upset person after that game.
Yeah, after yesterday, you got to start talking about the Irish, man. Played tough defense yesterday against Duke, a really good Duke team. In Duke, I thought the Blue Devils would make a little comeback there at the end, but the Irish pulled it out, man. They're another team that might be in that little playoff.
I was so tempted to bet Duke plus 5.5, but I didn't. Thank God, because
I got suckered into that, man. At home, it's a system play. You're taking a home dog plus a decent sized points. But Notre Dame, they're better than we think.
Yeah, the home dog I took was BYU, and that hit. So I didn't understand how they were.
Yep, I had.
I got it at +2. By the time it kicked off, it was even, and I was like,
"Yep." I had that one. I thought that game would go under. It was a lot of points, man. Because Cincinnati's offense is terrible. Yeah. The Bearcats. But Luke Fickle's gone. That's Jordan's guy.
Yep.
Yeah, I forget. Where's he coaching now?
No. George is over here in the chat. I'll answer it real quick. George asked, would I take Quinn Ewers in the second if it meant we could get Oluwime Fashanu and Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, George, probably, just because inherently I don't really, and I don't mean to sound all doom and gloom, but I don't know if there's a quarterback you could really put in this current situation and see him succeed. We're going to. The reality is they're going to put – Brian Pohl's going to get his guy, and he's going to put a quarterback here. But certainly if you had a better choice of getting actual legit talent, one at left tackle and Olu Fashanu, as well as Marvin Harrison Jr., I'd be all for it if Quinn Ewers or – I'm not a huge Quinn Ewers fan. He's fine. Not a problem. He's a good player. But I like J.J. McCarthy more. But I also don't see a world where you're talking about 40-ish picks going by, and you're going to tell me that you can't find takers for Drake May, Caleb Williams, Quinn Ewers, J.J. McCarthy, at least four. Like, and we're not even talking about whether it's a Cam Ward who gets in, if it's Bo Nix, Michael Penix. I don't see those guys in the same class, but
I'm not a fan of Bo Nix. He wasn't great at Auburn. All of a sudden, he's tearing it up at Oregon.
He reminds me of Tebow. I just get very like Tebow-ish vibes from him, play style wise.
Well, I mean, Oregon's a tough place to play, and they play tough. I mean, they played some tough defense this year, but
Bo Nix is fine. If somebody's asking about opinions of Bo Nix is okay. I'll put a great example because I like Riley Leonard as like a prospect, a theory, but to me I was kind of crapping on Riley Leonard last night, and it's not intentional. I'm sorry. I hope he's healthy. I hope the ankle's okay. But to me, I know that everybody wants to talk about this class as generational. I don't necessarily. I'd hold off on that because this is the same thing we had in 21. Man, could you believe?
No, he just cut out.
For you guys,
I was gonna say he just cut out.
Lawrence, you got Trey Lance, you got Mac Jones, Davis Mills. Huh?
Yeah.
You had cut out like right when you hit the height of that. It was
right when you were you were really getting into it.
Well, anyways, just that my whole point is that
You're really getting that, Jordan.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the generation. Is he frozen again? I think
he's frozen again.
Okay, he's back.
Yeah, my bad. But just my whole point is that I would just caution people that this class isn't. It's more of an eye of the beholder class than it is like a superstar class, and we haven't even got to the point where many of these names that you're hearing about are going to go back to school.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, Shedeur Sanders maybe go back to school.
I mean, two of my favorite.
I will reset.
Prospects from last.
I'll be back.
Yeah. Please just back out and come back in, and maybe it'll. But two of my favorite prospects from last year was that offensive tackle from Penn State that I'm not going to try and say his name. Yeah, him and Jared Verse. They both went back to college. So, and who knows what? I mean, I know it seems like Caleb Williams is going to come out no matter what, but. I mean, there's always that little thing in the back of your head where his dad said, we don't like what it looks like. He can go back to school. So, I just don't know. But I worry about buying into another quarterback class a little bit because the one that we drafted Fields in was supposed to be the new age, great class. And really only Trevor Lawrence has come out of it that's looked like an NFL starter, and I hate it because I love Justin. I'm wearing his jersey today to support my quarterback, but man, it just like Jordan was saying, he's missing open guys at this point. Like it's not even.
He's getting terrible coaching. He's had his first coaches were terrible. His second coaches were terrible. At the end of last year, we were talking about Justin Fields being like one of the highest paid players in NFL history. Now he'd be lucky if he gets a Mitch Trubisky contract. That's tragic. It's fucking.
We'll bring Jordan back in now and see if he's up to speed.
Hopefully, a little better.
Oh yeah,
you came in talking
good, man.
I'll just be very quick. Everybody's asking about Bo Nix. Bo Nix is fine. I just was trying to say that real quick. This QB class, you haven't seen everybody that's going to go back yet. You need to see who's going to go back to school. I know it looks fantastic right now. I agree. But I also just think that you have to be cautious. 21 class looked phenomenal as well. You've seen that situation.
While you were gone, that was what Aaron said.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, to me, Bo Nix is a okay prospect. I just think that what I would caution is that I think that there's a very clear delineation from the top tier and the bottom tier. Riley Leonard, Shedeur Sanders, I think needs to go back to school. I know it's not a popular opinion, but Bo Nix, Cam Rising, I'm sure I'm missing a few. Those guys are in a separate tier to me than what I would call the first round. Absolutely, I would hitch my wagon to. And really that to me is it's Caleb, it's Drake, it's JJ, it's Quinn, and then I could be talked into Cam Ward. But, Sam Hartman, other guys like that, those guys are just Michael Penix. To me, they are in a separate tier. They go in day 2.
I like him. He's a risk, though, man. He's had some injury history.
Yeah, he's older than Fields is already, and he's still in college. That's
Hartman.
Penix. Hartman's older than Fields or Penix.
Hartman is.
Penix can really sling it, though, man.
Yeah. What about the? I know we're off on a tangent here, talking quarterbacks in the draft. Is DJ Ugalele? Is he draft eligible this year? Do you think he'd come out, or? I know he didn't do great at Clemson, but he's doing really well.
Bad though. I mean, he was terrible with Clemson.
Yeah, he was.
Tucci looks better, but to your point, he's one that I need. You got to wash off the stench for more than just a year.
Yeah,
I need you to go back, show me again next year.
Yeah. Oh, I throw another name out there. You got to really wash the stench off of Spencer Rattler. Is he draft eligible?
Yeah, he should be.
Yeah, I was
But,
gonna say,
man,
bro, I can't stand the
out of
dude, but
stench.
he I was gonna say, but he seems to be a little bit better-ish now.
He is supposedly, and obviously I don't know the guy, but I mean it's well documented that he was kind of a
He's an
douchebag
asshole.
early in his career. And he's since turned the corner, more mature, teammates like him, and he's playing better. So he's another one.
Well, I mean, the kid was on a Netflix show in high school, so he probably thinks or went into college thinking he was bigger than he was, and then get knocked down a few times, and all of a sudden, I don't know.
Matthew Focheesy saying, "Watch that stink off." Yeah, we all as Bears fans need to watch that Bears stink off. Also, the players.
Do you guys think Eberflus was really Poles' choice? Because I've talked about this on Bears State Affairs. The choice struck a lot of people as odd in the first place when Eberflus was hired. You got an ascending quarterback, and here we are drafting another defensive-minded coach, and it had similarities harkening back to when Ryan Pace hired John Fox, and he was kind of foisted onto Ryan Pace to kind of clean up that locker room and get the defense straightened out post Tressman. And now you're looking at the Eberflus hire. Like, how could he hire this guy? It's bad on so many levels.
I gotta think that was his guy. I mean, originally, like I said, it rubbed me wrong. Like it didn't make sense.
Yeah, you said it many times.
But as many times as he's come out and said, "This is my guy," he's either laying on that sword and dying for the McCaskies.
Yeah.
At some point, you would think something would leak out, that he would say something to somebody off the record and say, this wasn't really my guy. They kind of forced him on him. You would think something like that would come out, but it's hard to know. I mean,
Poles is 36 years old.
Well,
it's kind of young. You're getting your first promotion to a senior executive level. And I said on Bears State Affairs, I could see like George McCaskey dropping in on the interview. Silently nodding, and then after the interview, Ryan really like Matt Eberflus. But it's your decision, whatever you want to do.
To me too. I totally agree with all you. I think that it seems way more likely that Eberflus was kind of urged and pushed into the position. Yep. But as far as I'm concerned, you've had Ryan Poles on the record multiple times saying, "Nope, I wasn't forced. That was my guy. That was my choice." Whether that's true or not,
would he ever say that though?
No, but that's my thing. But whether it's
he
true
would
or
never
not,
say, they made me take this guy. I'm brand new at this job. They said, "You fucking take Matt Eberflus or you're out of here." He would never.
Yeah, no, I get it. But as long as you're going to own it and say, "Nope, I wasn't forced. We see the game the same way. We're simpatico. This is my guy." Then I get to hold credit on you for that decision. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah. And it's kind of verboten that GMs get get two chances at the quarterback hire, which I think is bullshit. I would get rid of both Poles. I'm not exactly enamored of his draft picks. I know it's early. You could definitely throw the argument back at me that's too early to tell about his draft picks. But his pro personnel moves have not been good. You have the Larry Ogunjobi hire. Nate Davis has been garbage. We haven't even seen DeMarcus Walker. I like the Yannick Ngakoue hire, and he's getting pressure. But we had two guys on the roster that were getting just as much pressure. They just couldn't close it. I think Ngakoue will probably be okay. He'll probably get to his customary 8 sacks on the season. But I tell you, today against the Broncos, we got 3. I don't know if Tyreek Stevenson is out, still not listed whether he's out. But Jalen Johnson, our best cornerback, out.
Yeah.
Eddie Jackson, our best safety, out. Yeah. We're in trouble in the secondary versus guys like Jerry
Kyler Gordon, of course, is still out too.
So. Kyler Gordon's still out. That 3 out of our 4 primary players in the Bears secondary are out. You're going against Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy and Russell Wilson, who's a longtime veteran. He knows how to beat the Bears. He knows how to beat cover.
Russell Wilson, for as much as they've talked about him falling off since going to Denver, his numbers are scarily accurate to what they were in Seattle, other than his fourth quarter numbers, which in Seattle, the guy was just a world beater in the fourth quarter. I mean, if you had fourth quarter Russ, you felt really good about your quarterback position. But other than that, his numbers have been pretty similar to what he was doing in Seattle. So he's doing what he was doing there. It's just come down to their defense. I mean, they gave up 70 points last week, and then they come in here.
You don't think they're going to be angry coming?
Yeah, exactly.
After giving up 70. This below is such a great point here, man. I mean, Trevor Lawrence going backwards before they hired Doug Peterson. I know they had that hiccup versus the Texans last week, but Texans have owned the Jaguars. They've won like 5 straight versus Jacksonville. You know, it's just a team that they have trouble with. But we should have hired somebody like a Doug Peterson who's had success with quarterbacks. We hired unknown Matt Eberflus, unknown Luke Getsy, and Alan Williams has been a disaster. It's just, the hiring, the Bears, even though they have to, the Bears organization is an organization that has to hire people to tell them who to hire. You know, so that's fucked up. You know, it's like they don't have somebody. I know they've got Kevin Warren now, and let's hope he does something. Yeah, but he's overseeing a mess, man.
I mean, if they need somebody to call, man, I would do it for half the price of Bill Pauline. I promise you. I'd call my guy Jordan and KB and get some information from across the pond. I'd call all my guys in. We'd be their little
Jordan and Baralissimo would be the head nut my scouting department.
See, but this is the thing, and like.
Oh, is he frozen?
Exact comment, and I'm sure
froze again.
George, I probably find this the same.
Yeah,
I was really high.
You got to reset your router, I think, Jordan. When you start getting that lag, you know,
he's getting frustrated.
Every time you start to talking, bro, it just say that I'm good. And pauses out, bro.
Mouthing the Bears.
Yeah.
you got that Chicago Bears media goddamn connection, huh? They pushing the pause on your ass like, nope. He's making good points.
You gotta reset your router, I think, usually when it's like that laggy where you're like, you stop, and then all of a sudden it's like you're in fast motion, you know. But I wanted to ask Aaron and Ryan and Chris, who's coming in to play in the secondary, man? So we got Jalen Jones. We got another Jalen, I think, somewhere, right? And then what's the Minnesota kid? Terrell Smith?
Yeah, Terrell Smith.
So those guys are going to be playing corner on the outside.
I was going to say probably Terrell Smith. You got Tariq Stevenson. I believe they said he was going to play.
Okay. I know he's got an illness.
Yeah, you'll probably end up with Kendall Vildor in the slot. Elijah Hicks playing safety.
I thought Vildor was cut.
Was he?
I could have sworn.
I thought he was still on the team.
No, Vildor's gone.
Oh.
Josh Blackwell's.
I mean, I don't hate Blackwell.
Blackwell's hurt.
Jones or Terrell Smith.
Yep.
These are guys that came in, especially Jones and Blackwell. They came in last year when we needed them and really kind of stepped up their game and played up to par. You got Elijah Hicks, I guess, is going to play your safety, but your other safety is Jaquan Brisker, who I don't understand it. I bought the guy's jersey because I like him. I definitely want him to succeed.
Yeah.
But it seems like he's hurt every time he makes a tackle.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on with Jaquan Brisker? I don't – it doesn't make sense to me how a safety, a hard-hitting safety coming out of college, all of a sudden can't tackle. It doesn't – I don't get it. And it's – I have no idea, but the secondary is tough, which also hurts you up front because is Eberflus going to want to bring the pressure if he's got backups in his secondary who he may not trust? I mean,
you got nothing to lose.
I was going to say, bro, to me, the way you help out young corners or young secondary is you bring heat.
Yep.
I'll say that nothing was more evident than last night. If anybody watched the Notre Dame Duke game. When the chips were down, the fucking Duke coordinator sent the fucking house at Sam Hartman. I don't know why he decided not to do it on the fourth down play because I would have heated his ass up yet again. The Notre Dame offensive line couldn't hold water last night. So you send the pressure. Get beat by sending pressure. You can say you tried.
Yeah.
That's the best you can do. Because the last thing you're going to do is sit there and say, oh, my 2 rookies and my 2 second-year safeties are going to stop a veteran of 10-plus fucking years with Jerry, Judy, Courtney Sutherland, and whoever the fuck the tight end is. I don't see it happening. I just don't. So I'm all for it. You have to heat them up, but
you got nothing.
It's probably
nothing
not going to happen.
Yeah, they got to get out of their heads, man. They got right now. Eberflus been reluctant to send pressure, but he's probably thinking we can't. Russell Wilson just beat us on the blitz. Shut up, stop it. Just send guys. Devise something to get pressure on Wilson today.
And I've heard because I listened to a lot of the score through the week while I'm at work, and it was a difficult listen this week with the Cubs imploding, the Sox losing 100 games, the Bears imploding as well. It was a difficult listen this week, but they bring on who was the former coach of the Bears?
Which one?
Wani.
Yeah.
They bring him in, and he talks about blitzing on defense and having to play man behind that. But there is a zone blitz defense.
It is.
The Steelers ran it for years under Bill Cowher. He always ran a zone blitz. He'd blitz his guys and run zones behind it and have you covered up. And it was always difficult for teams to figure it out. Even when the Steelers weren't great, they would play great defense, and they didn't always have superstars back there either. They just, obviously you had Troy Polamalu running it, so he's going to keep everybody in place. You got a Hall of Famer back there, but still the way, and I don't understand why we can't play that. If they're obsessed with running a zone, you can blitz and run a zone, but it seems like even Wanstead, a head coach, doesn't take that into account. And I don't know if that comes back to coaching, I'm assuming. Does he just not know? And maybe he just doesn't want to change it mid-season, change his defense. But I saw someone put out a tweet this week. We were 32nd in almost every single
literally every category. We're 32nd.
Since
why aren't you changing here? Why aren't you changing your system? That's key one. I'm sorry. You need to do something. Your defense does not work on paper. It doesn't work in stats, and it doesn't work in live action.
I'm going to go back to my old standby. Aaron Kurtz said that Matt Eberflus coaches a defense that doesn't work anymore
at all.
Mm-hmm.
You got to adjust.
But like I said, bro, go ahead, Chris.
Sorry, Kevin.
Go ahead, bro.
It just makes you think, though, like, is he just being really sort of stubborn? You see, we had this sort of problem with Nagy with the offense a couple of years ago, where he wanted his scheme rather than what players, rather than fit the scheme to fit the players' strengths, and it feels like we just got exactly the same as the defense. It seems Eberflus is so sort of stuck in that scheme, that this is not my scheme, and that he's not really adapting to what player strengths we've got. And it's so fucking obvious to everybody. It's obvious to me, and I really think about the game from an offensive point of view. It's so obvious to me that this doesn't work. It just don't fucking work anymore, man. This is out of date. And why can't you change the scheme, or alter it slightly so we can get more pressure on the quarterback? It's the same on offense as well. Like, the offense coordinator is not calling plays what works to Justin Fields' strength. I know Justin, he struggled this year, and I must admit my sort of rating of him has gone down quite a bit because he is missing wide open guys. But why aren't you why did you go from being the number one running offense last year? I'm like, now we're not running the ball at all, so we can't set up any play action passes.
Let me answer that part for you.
It's a fucking joke.
Let me answer that part for you, because the whole this idea that the Bears had this prolific running offense always pissed me off. We didn't have this prolific running offense. Our running backs weren't running for 100 yards a game. They weren't having 5 to 6 yards per carry. We had one player that had the yards per carry, and he was hurt. So you only had a small sample size of games. That's why his yards per carry was so high. Let's stop acting like Fields didn't rush for 1,100 fucking yards with maybe 800 to 900 of the shit coming because he was running for his fucking life. Let's stop acting like the Bears' offensive line was really out here doing all this fucking work when we could barely get a fucking yard running up the middle. Let's stop acting like the Bears had this prolific offense. They had this prolific rushing offense. It was strictly because somebody was playing fucking backyard football and had to do what he had to do so he cannot get killed. You take fucking Justin Fields' stats out of it. What do we have? Nothing. That offense is probably still the 32nd ranked offense. This shit killed me all offseason. Every pundit, every media person that covers this shit. Oh, well, they're a really good running offense. No, Justin Fields is really good at scrambling for his fucking life. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Yep, that was all it was. Number one rushing offense in the NFL is all.
You know what? Yeah, you know what, KB? You're completely right, mate. And I think as well this year, a lot of defenses spied on Justin Fields and they're containing him, which obviously shows again about lack of rushing. So I will doff my hat to you, KB, on that point, mate. You're bang on.
I've been saying, I said that shit as soon as I heard it the first time over the offseason, bro. Once they said the Bears had this good rushing offense, no, we don't. Yeah. Like I said, you had somebody that had to scramble. If, like I said, you take that out of it, you sit here and you look. David Montgomery was what we said 2 and 3 yards. He was the hard yard earner, and even when he did have lanes, he wasn't really getting that many yards. Khalil Herbert, yes, he was the burst guy, which is what he needs to be now, which is why Roschon Johnson needs to be the fucking starting running back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Khalil Herbert needs to come in after to spell Roschon Johnson and throw a defense off because he can hit the home run. He's not a starter. So
yeah,
it's and this all comes back into coaching. Our coaches don't know what they're doing. People are in over their head. The personnel decisions don't make sense, like y'all were saying with the defensive line. It's a master clusterfuck. And you're asking for people to succeed and be great when there's nothing but confusion and disorganization around them. I'm sitting here right, like perfect example, bro. I'm sitting here watching the fucking Falcons Jaguars game. Like every part of my being is telling me that Justin Fields is going to end up in Atlanta before the season's over.
Yeah,
because I'm just not seeing it with Desmond Ridder either.
Yep.
And
Ryan Pace will ask how much it costs.
Yeah, I can see them saying, you know what, we can do some read option shit with Bijan Robinson and Justin Fields and really scare the fuck out of NFC South. I can see that shit happening completely. My man can't even complete a goddamn swing route. But
Arthur Smith will come up with something.
And
to use both guys.
He has more of a scheme, and you can see it. It's just not being completed to his liking. So
I think that's where Justin ends up before the end of the year.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that he's going to be in Atlanta. I do.
Yeah, it's his hometown. You know, it's Justin's hometown.
Makes a lot of sense. He grew up a Mike Vick fan. You know, he had his jersey as a kid. That's his team.
It's just his value is so depleted now. I mean,
we gonna get pennies.
How much did Trey Lance? The Cowboys have spent a 4th round for Trey Lance.
Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, we'll probably get a 3rd for Fields.
Oh, he threw a touchdown.
Do we have 2 seconds next year as well?
Nope. Just the one.
I don't think so.
Just the one.
Yeah.
I was trying to think when y'all were talking quarterbacks and having to wait so many picks for a quarterback to fall to. I was like, well, if we got 2 seconds, we could just trade up and go get a guy.
I mean, shit. The way it's looking, we could be picking in the top 35. I mean, in the top 5 of the second round, so it doesn't matter to me. Mm-hmm. You probably be picking 33rd, 34th, 35th.
Yeah, we're gonna have 3 top 35 picks next year.
So
well, Mike does make a good point. I mean, I have a short memory, but Fields, he did okay in Tampa Bay until the last play, which the play call drove me nuts. Why are you throwing a screen in your own 5-yard line? I mean, I think that's what really killed us. But he was still missing guys in that game, but he did, like, the very first drive. I remember watching it, and I was like, holy shit, we're fucking on today. Let's go. But, yeah, I mean, it's hard to – you need consistency. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Jordan, I need to hear your voice, man, and make sure you're up to speed.
Can someone please start a Lions podcast? We got a place for this guy to go.
Well, I would talk, fellas, but I'll keep it short because I just don't know how long it's going to last. So I'm here.
Hey, man, you sound good right now, brother. You ain't cut out yet.
But if I say shit about the Bears, they just, they
Hey,
clamp
man.
down on it.
They gonna hit that button.
What do you think? What have I been doing the whole time I've been here?
Look, they said that boy Jordan got the ear of the people on the west side, the West Coast. So they can't let him preach all around the world now. They say California's a big state.
Yeah.
Man, I had a lot to say over the weekend, man. I sat and pondered it. You know what I'm saying? I thought about how you fix an offense that seems like that's rudderless and it's stuck in the middle of the ocean. And you come up with ways to say, how do you fix the defense? You just think everything. We got all this time on your hands. And things start to make sense in your head, and you just ask yourself why it doesn't happen. It's two offenses that I would look to, right? Two offenses that I would look to. They make the most sense. Your personnel kind of fits it, and it will help your quarterback. So the Seattle Seahawks, right? You got the monster Megatron Jr. out there with DK. Do you not have a wide receiver that's the similar build to him in Claypool?
I mean, similar build, but I wouldn't say similar in
I'm
any
not-
other way.
I'm just saying you have a player that's similar build. We can all agree that Claypool is built like a brick shit house, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. He doesn't have to be DK Metcalf. I don't expect him to be DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is a freak of nature. The dude is you know what I'm saying, in the top 15 to 20 best receivers in the league. That's real.
His
But
diet's crazy too. He eats Lifesavers gummies all day.
hey, that's
DK Metcalf.
That's hilarious.
Yes. Look up. He talked to someone about his dietary because they were talking about how good his body looked. He was like, he gets like 3 or 4 of them big sharing size bags of candies, and
They
that's
fat-free, man.
mostly what he eats.
They fat free. That's why.
Whatever works.
But
Whatever works.
you continue to look at the Seahawks wide receiver core. You have Lockett, who you can pencil. You can slot DJ Moore into Lockett's spot, and then you have Smith and Jigba. You have Darnell Mooney. So you got 3 wide receivers that you can kind of put in the same place. All right, they might not be the same caliber, but they're the same make and build and the same type of player. Why don't you take concepts from other people and start to slot those in? Why not run routes that DK runs with Claypool? Why not do what Tyler Lockett does with DJ Moore, or what they started doing with Darnell? With Smith and Jigba and whoever else their other wide receiver is that comes in as fourth.
They're stubborn, man.
And then get under
That's
center.
what it is. They think they're the smartest guy in the room.
Yep.
I mean,
Same
we
problem with Nagy.
literally saw the Packers and who do we play week 2? The Packers and Tampa Bay both played like 90% zone coverage against us.
Yeah.
Kansas City went to man, and we still couldn't do anything. We couldn't run or anything. But what Kansas City did against our zone, they take Kelsey down and then bring guys underneath it, and now that's open. But we can't do it. Oh, okay. These dudes are playing zone against us. Let's run this. Now, Komet is no way, shape, or form the same athlete that Kelsey is, but anybody, you could take them down and then open the zone underneath it if they're running 90% zone against us. But again, our coaches just think they're the smartest guys in the room, and they're not willing to adjust. We don't see any adjustments at all. So, even if we have decent first half, they adjust. We don't.
And I was gonna say another thing. Like I said, I noticed, man. If you're trying to get your quarterback ideas right, I look at the 49ers and how they use players on their team. All right, I'm not gonna look at their receiver core because the fuck 49ers are it's just talent everywhere. But you go re-sign a fullback, correct? You bring back Kahari Blasingame, who was a hell of a fucking athlete. Big guy. Can run, block, do all this shit. Why not start putting this motherfucker out at tight end and start to motion him back into the backfield, run some of these power concepts, use him like the 49ers would use Kyle Juszczyk. You sign these players and then you don't use them.
Mm-hmm.
Kahari Blasingame could probably come in on third downs and help you block at running back if you really wanted to get shots off.
Yeah, we haven't had Equanimous either out there blocking. He's been inactive for 3 games.
But you don't use these players that you re-sign. I'm just saying, bro, if you really want to help Fields out, the best way to do it, take some concepts from other teams, the Seahawks, start using the players that you got. Use Kahari Blasingame, run power game, get under center, operate out of the I formation, the single back. Stop all this fancy shit like that's what we can do. Clearly, that's not a strong point for us. It's not. So you have to get back to basics. Run basic. I ain't gonna say run basic routes. All right. I'm just saying run basic offenses. Because we get in the shotgun, we can't do shit out of the shotgun. Clearly, we drop back to pass and his pocket collapses and we're fucked. Get under center, give Fields the chance to see the field before he fucking snaps the ball or do whatever he does afterwards. Hand the ball off, run downhill. Play action.
We gotta do that today against this Broncos defense.
That's all I would do. That's all I would do, man. But like I said, people don't realize I guess the talent we re-signed. But hey, they're on the roster, right?
I should talk a little bit about that Broncos defense. They gave up 726 yards of offense last week to the Dolphins, but I mean they just had a bad game. 350 yards versus the run. I mean, we just had Broncos' worst team against the run. I mean, take out that game against the Dolphins, they weren't really terrible. They gave up 122 yards to the Commanders and 61 yards to the Raiders. So I mean, not really terrible. Those numbers are a little bit skewed, but
they're kind
we
of
still have to establish the run.
Yeah, I definitely agree we need to establish the run, but they're kind of in the same situation as we are where their defense wasn't working, so they were trying something new.
Yeah.
They drafted Drew Sanders out of Arkansas. He didn't really fit their scheme. I heard this on CHGO last week when they talked to a guy from Denver. So he didn't really fit their scheme, so they changed their scheme midweek, and then the communication was off. And then when what's his name, Jewel, Jerry Jewell, that one, Josie Jewell, he got injured.
Out. Yeah,
he was their green dot guy. He was the guy who ran everything, you know. So that made the communication even worse, and that helped out the Dolphins even more. I don't know if he's still out this week or what. I just, I mean, we got to run the ball, but their defense is in bad shape too. You know, they're talking about wanting their defensive coordinator fired, just like we're talking about our entire coaching staff. You know, they're not happy in Denver either.
Who decides who's active for the game?
That's a good question.
I feel like that would be.
It should be Flus, right?
Head coaching call.
But they asked him, and he said at a press conference that he leaves that to the coordinators to decide, because they asked him why EQ wasn't active, and he was like, "Oh, that's Getsy."
Yeah, Eberflus is Mr. Hands Off. That's just what we need.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Matthew's got a good point. I'll take Sean Payton. When it comes down to it, you got Sean Payton versus Eberflus. That's it's hard to argue against a Super Bowl winning head coach. That and as bad as their defense has been, their offense has been playing pretty well. Their biggest issue last week was they turned the ball over, and I don't think Jerry Jeudy played last week. That might have hurt him too.
I don't think he did either.
Yeah,
I think
Marvin pretty good wide receivers.
Go ahead, Jordan. I know where you're going with that, and I was
going to say
going
I
there
think Marvin
too.
Mims lights up the Bears today in some way, some shape, or form. And then as far as defensively, not that I love Vance Joseph, but I think he's gonna light Justin Fields up with blitzes like a Christmas tree. They're gonna blitz the hell out of this offense, and
they're going to stack the box because what threat do you have of passing?
And then when Justin Fields throws it, hopefully it's not towards Pat Surtain, because in for some bad news.
How many slants have we run this year, Jordan?
I seen one.
I saw one myself too.
Yeah, they've had. I guarantee you they've been there, but it's probably less than 20, and that's the problem. There's probably, honestly, in 3-4 games, it'll be less than 20.
That's all.
That's another thing that drives me insane. I watched us get stomped. I think it was Packers week. We got stomped by the Packers. Then the second game I watched was 49ers Rams. They both looked organized, ready to play. And I would watch Matt Stafford simply look at Puka Nacua. The defensive guy is 20 yards off like we play. So he'd just run a slant in front of him and just hit it all day. I'll take 5 yards, 5 yards, 10 yards, 7 yards all day long. And let your guys make plays. I don't understand how it's like the season snuck up on us. We don't see KB, you were talking about putting guys in motion. We don't see it. I don't see anyone ever in motion. I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if they don't trust Fields because remember Fields said he had too much information in his head coming from a bunch of different ways. I don't know if that's part of the issue. I don't understand how we don't have any motions. That helps your quarterback out to know what the defense is. If you see a guy running with that guy, okay, they're in man. It's very simple to notice.
I was gonna say, Matt.
I'd love to be wrong, but if I had to take a guess, they're not calling pre-snap motion because of penalties.
Probably. I was gonna say, has anybody seen the movie The Watch? It's got Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn in a minute. There's a scene in The Watch where they're interrogating this young kid who was at a football field throwing eggs, and it's literally like, look at him. No, look at me. Now look at me talking. Now listen to me. Now hear me talking, but listen to him. And that's how I feel the Bears offense.
Yeah, that's how they're coaching.
Look at both of us at the same time.
Right. Listen to him, but hear me talk. What, brother? If I was Fields, I'd be fucking confused too.
Yeah,
but
mixed messages. We've
had
trouble with like Barry Lissimo said. We had trouble with the interior offensive line, man. Not only injuries, but they just haven't played well. They haven't blocked well, man.
Hey, don't worry though. We're close. Remember, that's what he was saying.
Well,
when he said we were close, did that mean that we were gonna finally get Tevin Jenkins back and Nate Davis at some point? Because
Tevin put out the Instagram post that he was loading up.
I seen the Goku thing because if you seen me, I was gonna say if anybody seen my post on that, I said, but wait, Goku's always dead. God damn it! It's not a good reference, sir.
Everybody, what is this? This is the Bears website. The Bears website, they ask to pick the game. I don't know, it's about 10 people, maybe more, 15 people. They asked who would win the game, and nobody picked the Bears today. So what do you guys got for the game today?
Yeah. Yeah, we should probably get into that and close this out so that the goon can come in and tell us how to set our fantasy lineups. I'll start with Jordan, KB, and we'll go around. I always do this backwards. We'll go around in a circle, and I'll finish this up. Start us off, Jordan. Give me a score prediction, bowl prediction, and an MVP, please.
Broncos win 24-14. And then MVP, give me Roshan. And bold prediction, Marvin Mims has a record day on this Bears defense.
Oof. Well, okay.
You going with Mims, huh? Okay.
I just don't think he's fast enough to cover him. That's the problem.
Yeah, you took Roshan. I don't know who to go with now, you asshole.
You can pick the same one if you want to. There's not very many to pick from on this team.
Because how can I pick the Broncos to win and not want to pick Broncos players? I'll gladly pick an MVP for the Broncos if you want Roshan.
Oh no! I figured we were picking MVPs for the Bears too. That's why. Y'all you a little bit more optimistic than I am, brother. I'm going I say 34-10 because the way this shit is going, we only put up points in garbage time and we can only seem to squeak out a touchdown at the end. So MVP. Damn. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got to go with Roshan. I just can't think of nobody else, man.
He's the only player playing worth a damn on
pretty
this
much.
Outside of Andrew Billings.
Yeah, I'm thinking offense at the moment. So yeah. Roshan. My prediction, I was gonna say Jerry Judy acts a fool on us. So I give you Mims. I'll raise you a Jerry Judy.
All right, Chris.
Wow, it's so depressing, this, isn't it? We're in the fourth week and it feels like we've gone 0-17 already. You know what I mean? It's so disappointing, but I'm going to go for the Bears victory. I know we've got loads of injuries at defensive backs, but this team, the team we're playing, got 50 points against them. And we aren't lost by that big a margin. So I'm just thinking, if we're not going to turn it around this week, then when the fuck are we going to turn it around? So I'm going to
After
go
we
Bears
fire
victory.
people.
I'm going to go. That's right. This is my heart speaking and not my head. I completely agree with what you're saying, KB. I'm telling you, but I can't just turn on another Bears game and sit there and just thinking, oh, we're just going to lose. So I'm going to go 24-18 to the Bears. I'm going to say Justin Fields, because if he don't fucking get his shit together this game, then he's out of town for me. So yeah, they're my predictions, boys. Really, I like to go against a grade sometimes. I know it's completely illogical, but if we can't beat a team what just got beaten by 50 points, the week before, then we're fucked. We're going to go 17 and we're going to go 0-17. We're not going to win a game, or we might win 2 games because they'll be the ones I go to. But yeah, that's my prediction. I'm going to go for the Bears, and if we can't turn it around this week, then I think we're going to be really struggling to actually get a win through the season. So yeah, I'm just going to try and be positive. Might be the Jack Daniels talking.
All right, go ahead, Tooch.
All right, strictly going by the numbers here. You got a 46.5 point total, and Broncos are 3.5 point favorites coming off a 70 point or 50 point loss. They're 3.5 point favorites. This season is ass backwards from where we thought we'd be, Aaron.
Yeah.
I'll give me the Broncos 27, Bears 21. My MVP, the Broncos are terrible against the tight end. Give me Kmart. Freaking the cheap ass tight end we got running out there. He looks like Michael Burton trying to find somebody to block. He was like all aggro, can't get on a block, put him in line. He's fine, but you just get him moving out there trying to find somebody to block, and he overruns the block. But give me Cole Kmet, I think maybe 5 catches today. And then shout outs for the chat was great today, man. The comments as always really good. And coming up after the show is fantasy football going with Joe Mandel, Adam Sham, and myself.
Yeah, I'm seeing some fantasy questions in the chat already. Just stick around, y'all. They'll be starting that up in.
Should I start Tyson Bagent today? I'm waiting for that fantasy question. Right?
Why not?
If he's on my bench, I put him in?
Well, so first off, shout out to you guys for coming on with me again today. I know it's tough. It's only week 4, and it feels like, we're all ready for the end of the season. We're already talking draft prospects and college players at week 4, which sucks, man. But we got 2 first-round picks. You got to do something with them.
Yeah.
Shout out to the chat. Everybody in here was on fire today, talking about everything, giving good insight, and all that stuff. Just like Tooch said, stay tuned for the fantasy show. There'll be a halftime show and a post-game show, and I'm sorry for those guys. A couple weeks away, Chris, we're going to be in Chicago, ready to watch this Bears team.
Wow.
That's about the only thing I'm looking forward to is getting to Soldier Field live.
The night before.
Same here.
Yeah. So we'll have to get with Aldo and see what the bar room's wanting to do the night before to see if we can all get together and stuff. But we'll talk about that offline. Score prediction. 2 weeks ago, I said the Bears had their backs against the wall and they had to do something. They had to bounce back, and they went down into Tampa Bay and lost. And just like you said, Chris, if we don't win this one, it's hard to find one on the schedule where we know, like, we can beat this team. But It comes down to coaching. Comes down to coaching for me. Do I trust Sean Payton or do I trust Eberflus, who says we're close and he sees the light in these guys' eyes and everyone? I mean, the locker room seems to be staying together, so I guess that's a positive for who we have on the team. So I gotta go. I gotta go with the Broncos, man. And I think it's like 31-21. It might be close until the very end. And then the Broncos put a touchdown on us at the end to kind of give themselves. Actually, give me 24-31 because I want to see Cairo get a decent a field goal on there, not just not just extra points. So give me 31-24 Broncos. My MVP is I mean, if we have to go with a bear, I'm going to go with Roshan. I think he deserves it. He deserves a chunk of this. And we need to run the ball. This team struggles to defend the run. So run the damn ball. It's not that difficult to figure it out.
Well, they didn't come here to run the I formation. So.
No, whatever. I thought coaches came here to win, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I did.
And then what was I going to – bold
they got
prediction.
that 13-game losing streak hanging over their heads today, Aaron.
Yeah.
You know?
Bold prediction. I'm gonna say Andrew Billings gets back there and gets a sack today.
He was my second choice.
That guy has been working his ass off. All the bullshit that we've talked about this year, and I know I've met the guy. He feels like family to me, so I'm a little biased. But the guy's been putting in his work, working his ass off. KB, I don't know if you text him through the week, but if you ever do, just let him know that we're still pulling for him and we still got his back. Like I told you, I got 2 Billings jerseys on their way, for sure. So, but that's my bold prediction is that the Billings gets back there and gets him a sack today. But man, it's a rough season, fellas. But we'll get out of here and let the fantasy team come in and let you guys know who to start and sit, and we'll just leave everybody with a bear down.
Bear down,
baby.
They're down.